Greetings, wonderful viewers. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make eyes for your Maggie doll using dish towels. Yeah, we're going to use some dish towels. Let me see, can I get it there? Yeah. I got a stack of these towels from Walmart. I think they're maybe $3. Now, the reason I'm using dish towels is because I wanted something that would give it a more of a 3D look. And I knew that a fabric would hold the paint in a different way than paper would, because a lot of times I use paper. But anyway, and another thing is I'm a person who likes choices. So when I originally made Maggie's eyes, I made the brown eyes for her. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. But then I made those for her, and I also made these navy blue eyes for her. I thought these would be pretty, would give her a face like a pop of color. Let me turn it around this way. I thought it would give her a face like a really nice pop of color. But when I actually started to try on the different eyes for Maggie, I decided that I didn't want her to, I made lips for her also, and the lips had color, like like this. So you'll see in the video. Let me back up a little bit. So can I get an angle here? See the, oh, those are, that's nice. So these are the original lips that I made for her, but my camera, it takes a minute to focus back. But I thought that these lips would just make her look just way too grown. Like, here you are, you have a little girl who is a tomboy, and she has this these lips. I thought, no, I want a more natural look, which is the first time I've ever made a doll with natural lips, ever. So, anyway, long story short, since I decided not to color her lips, I felt that her face needed a pop of color, because at the end of the day, she is still a doll. And, it's still, for me, I'm not a realism type artist. So I thought, since her lips aren't going to be pink or red, so I need to have color in her face. So I made these eyes, and these eyes really were not supposed to be her eyes. It was some leftover paint I have from making a hot glue waterfall, and I thought, you know what? Let me just try some eyes this color. There's a little bit of paint left, but when I made these eyes, I made a purple pair as well, but I tried all of the eyes, and these were the ones that I thought fit her the best. So when you make your Maggie doll eyes, I suggest that you make several pair, at least 3 to 4 pair of eyes. And that's what I like about this technique, is that once you make it and you stuff it, they're not hard to make. Oh, but you do need to let it dry for 24 hours. I want to say that. Yeah, you need to let it dry for 24 hours, and make sure that you put the some type of 3D, what is this glossy accent. Like, this is what's going to give it that nice, beautiful pop. So you're going to put that over it. You got to let it dry for 24 hours. And the next day it's going to be nice and smooth and beautiful. And you put the doll's eye in and see which ones speak to you. Like, she'll let you know. Let me see, can I get her? Your doll will let you know which eyes she prefers. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, please do so. And I look forward to seeing you in the next project, because you need to go ahead and get started, because this girl needs some clothes. Thank you so much for watching. I am drawing the doll's eyes on the dish towels, and once I draw it with a pen, I go over it, I think, with maybe a permanent marker. And I'm, like I said, I'm really willy-nilly, so I'm not like this perfect person who needs everything to be perfect. So after that, I go and I paint it with the white paint, the inside. I'm drawing the circles for you, just so you can see just, how I came up with the dimensions for the circle. But I end up painting over it anyway. I am now filling in the irises for the eyes, and this is just one pair, but I made several pairs, some with stripes, some without. For some of you who are very artistic this way, you can come up with some very gorgeous designs. For me, the eyes are pretty basic in terms of my painting ability. One of my favorite things to do is to add glitter to the iris, just a little bit, because glitter is one of those things you don't want to use too much of, and it really gives it a nice sparkle. I try not to use too much for this particular doll, but in general, it is one of the things that I use when I make any of my doll eyes. You can add any type of three-dimensional liquid, whether it's Mod Podge or the one that I think I showed you in the opening. It really doesn't matter as long as it adds that a little depth to the eyes. I am now placing a dish towel under the eyes that have dried, and I'm going to sew completely around the eye. And then I'm going to cut the eye out. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to put a slit in the back and stuff it with the fiber fill. What I love about these eyes, they are very sturdy and the color is amazing. I'm not sure if I was able to capture how beautiful they really are on camera. I am stuffing the eye using a pair of scissors, but I do not recommend this, guys. I've been doing this for a while, and I kind of know my own strength. And it's a little risky thing to do. So you should probably use a wooden dowel or the end of a pen, but something that's dull, not a pair of scissors. I am now about to cut out the doll's eyelids on the fabric, and I want you to keep in mind that even after you cut out the pattern for the eyelid, you will continue to adjust it based on how closed or open you want your doll's eyes to be. Once you have the perfect size, you will then glue it on top of your doll's eyes. I'm about to cut the doll's eye. I did one off camera because I can see better when I'm not recording. But what I'm doing is using a pen, and I would suggest that you use an erasable pen, or I'm being very willy-nilly and kind of bold. I mean, because I've been doing it for a while now, but I would be careful with this because this can ruin your entire doll's head. So what I'm doing is I just I used to try to line the eyes up perfectly together, but then I realized I need to get one eye the way I want it, and then it's easier to use the eye that I've already cut out and copy it as opposed to trying to line them both up. I don't know if that makes sense. So do one eye by itself, get it perfect, and then use it as a guide for the next eye. And what I like to do is cut like put a line in the middle, and it's going to stretch. I don't care what type of fabric you're using, it is going to stretch from being manipulated. So make sure that you don't cut the hole too big, and keep in mind that that hole is going to stretch. So make it smaller, and if you need to adjust it, just clip like baby clips to make it bigger. I'm going to be honest with you, nothing stresses me out more than sculpting my doll's nose and cutting out her eyes. But it's just my preference. I like things that are 3D. So now I am preparing to put lashes, the bottom lashes on the doll. Now, a lot of people think the lashes are too long. My mom, everybody complain. I love it. Like, that's just my signature move, you know. But you can cut the lashes smaller. You can use, you can use real human lashes. I have those as well, but they're just not as dramatic. It's just something about when I found those, I just fell in love. And this is really nothing but yarn that you can pick up at Joann's or any place where yarn is sold. So first I am figuring out exactly where I want it to fit. So I suggest that you first put everything in place and use pins to stick it in place before you glue it. Now, typically, I like to use, what do you call that glue? Crazy glue. Oh, God. You know what? It's like bringing a gun to a knife fight. You really do not need something as strong as crazy glue on yarn, because yarn is already a very light fabric. But I'm impatient. I like for things to dry quickly, but usually it dries my fingers and other stuff. But long story short, I love this fuse, fabric fuse glue that I found recently. I love it because it gives you time to adjust it if you make a mistake. It dries clear and is very forgiving. If you use crazy glue, it dries fast, it dries clear. But you know, if I would say for a novice, please use something that would give you an opportunity to get it right. I am now preparing the eyelashes for the top lids. This is also a yarn that I picked up from Joann's, but typically for my other dolls, like this is for my rag dolls, I'm using yarn because for some reason I think that rag dolls are supposed to have a little bit more of a rugged look to it. So, but you can also use regular eyelashes. And again, I'm using the fabric fuse to glue the yarn on top of the lid. Make sure you let it dry first, because again, you might want to cut it once you start placing on your doll's eye to see what is a good fit for you. I am now preparing the doll's eyebrows. Now you can use a felt for this. Felt is a little thick for me personally. When I make my other dolls, I like to cut a little bit of the doll's hair and use this technique as opposed to the yarn. But I like for the whatever type of hair she has to kind of match her eyebrows. So what I'm doing is cutting up the yarn extremely small, almost to where it's like what do you want to call it, like fabric fuzz, like really fuzzy as you can get it. And what I'm going to do is take a two-way, I think this is called peel and stick. It's another fabric fuse. It's like a press-on type tape, and it's double-sided, but it's for fabric. And what I like to do is draw the eyebrow shape onto the tape first, and then you can, as you can see in the video, go ahead and just put all the little fuzzy yarn or hair, whichever one you want to use. Just do a really good job, because I like it. It's a very smooth look. And then you cut out the doll's eye shape, and the other side has the sticky part, and once you peel off the paper, you can stick it onto the doll's eyebrow, or where you're going to place the doll's eyebrows. Now that the doll's bottom eyelashes have completely dried, I am going to trim them. I'm usually a little bit more careful. It looks like I'm just like whacking away, but not really. I kind of know that I like it short, and for some dolls I like it longer. But once it completely dries, go ahead and trim it to your liking. Now, once the bottom lashes have completely dried, you want to place the doll's eye in. But make sure that you position it exactly the way you want it before you use hot glue. Now, for me personally, I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of times I don't glue my doll's eyes in, because I may change my mind and want to use another color later. But I want to tell you also, the reason it's very important to make sure that your bottom lashes dry before placing the eye in is because I have ruined eyes by placing gluing on the bottom lashes, and the glue would get onto the doll's eye, and it actually, like for some of my other dolls that we're going to make later, I use acrylic, and then it ruins the acrylic or it ruins the paint. So you really want to make sure that's dry first. now that you have glued the eye in and it's exactly the way you want it, and guys, you know, I'm just going to tell you that even, let's say you change your mind, and even after you have glued it in, you can still pull it out, seriously, and it'll take out a lot of cotton with it, but you can add a little bit more cotton and change your mind. And this is another reason why I like this format of making dolls, because it gives you an opportunity to correct your mistakes. So now you have your eye in, and now you're going to glue the eyelid on top. Now I really like gluing the eyelid on because it's a smoother look, but sometimes I like to ladder stitch my eyelid on. If you use a ladder stitch, again, you change your mind, you can take it off, you can redo it and make another one. If you glue it, you can still, you know, I'm being honest, you can pull it off and you can start over, but you might want to cover up the areas where the glue, you know, that shows the glue. But not for this doll, I use eyeshadow, so the eyeshadow will cover up a lot of the mistakes. After I glue on the eyelids, I go ahead and use just some regular blush to put on the doll's face. I would suggest that be very light-handed with it because it doesn't come off, but it's, you know, you can just put too much. But I like the blush because it gives it, again, that pop of color that I like in her face. So we are now wrapping up part 4 on how to make your Maggie doll. If you have any questions for me, please leave them in the comment box below. On the next